So with the new lab guidelines, we really can't do heat. So the easiest thing to do is concentration. You have two choices. You could either change the concentration of the yeast, or you could change the concentration of the hydrogen peroxide. Probably the hydrogen peroxide will be easier, but they'll both be the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add, since we're not being super accurate, we just want to see the difference between the concentrations. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm just going to get a good amount of yeast, about a tablespoon. And I'm going to add about half a cup of water. I believe in 8th grade, maybe even 7th, you had to bloom the yeast, but in this case we don't have to. And the reason why we don't have to is because we're not really needing the yeast to wake up. The catalase is already present in the yeast, so as long as the yeast is present, we're going to be able to see catalase reaction happen. Remember, catalase is there to help break down hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is something that's not healthy in our bodies, so we want to break it down so it doesn't have a free radical. That'll cause lots of things in our bodies, so that's kind of the advantage of catalase. So you can see this is fairly concentrated. I'm going to try my best to kind of mix it all in as much as possible. I'm making it kind of concentrated because usually we do this in test tubes, but this is the skinniest cups I could find. I'm going to try my best to kind of do a good concentration of it. So what I'm going to do is do a 1-to-1 ratio of yeast to hydrogen peroxide. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a certain amount of hydrogen peroxide in here, put it in. I'm going to keep doubling it every time in hopes of doing so, kind of halving the concentration every time. So originally hydrogen peroxide in here I believe is 3%. Let me just make sure. 3%. So hopefully you can see, but it is right there. It says 3%. So every time I'm halving it, I'm going to half the percentage. Since I only have 4 cups, I can only go from 3 to 1.5, 0.75, and then 0.35, 375. I am going to do my control in here. I only have 4 small cups, so I'm going to do my control in here, which I'm just going to mix yeast and water, which we kind of know nothing happens because right now it is just yeast and water. So you can see it's a very thick concentration. I'm going to pour a good amount in there because, like I said, normally it's in test tubes, so we want to see a lot of bubbles. In a test tube, it's much easier to see little bubbles without it. So I'm going to put 1 tablespoon in each one. So now I have 1 tablespoon in each one. I'm going to add a drop of soap. The soap doesn't have to be super accurate. I just want enough to make bubbles. So I'm going to do real quick. Let's see, it's not really dropping. Open it up a little bit more. So this is just dish soap. If it comes out. There it goes. Hopefully now we'll get a drop or so. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just enough that we can make some bubbles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, did 5. So I'm going to try to get 1 more drop in each one. Okay. Now we want to add the hydrogen peroxide. I'm going to do full concentration. I'm going to do half of that, so it'll be a 4th, and then an 1/8. So like I said, I am going to pour some hydrogen peroxide in here. I'm going to start off with, let's do 1/4. Now, unfortunately, this is not a graduated cylinder, so it's not going to be super accurate, but we should get a sense of what's going on. I'm going to try my best to do it all within 10 seconds each time, but I might not do it fast enough, but we'll see. So this is 3%. And you see right away it's starting to bubble. And it looks like it's going to overfill. So let's see if I'll be lucky enough and it will stay in here. But it looks like it's going to go all the way to the top. Okay, and I'm going to do half of this. I'm going to fill it all the way to half. And we can watch the video to see how fast it went up. And I'm going to fill it up to 2 cups, or half of that. And then half of that. To the brim is 2 cups, but I'm not going to go all the way just because I don't want to spill. So I'm going to move the camera a little bit so you can see. And you can see, let me pull the towel a little bit more. Less and less bubbles. So, full concentration, 3. Here we have 1.5, 0.075, and then half of that. So much less every time. Okay, we can keep on going, but it's just going to get less and less. And I think I do have better pictures for us to use, but this will be good enough for that. You could do the opposite. So right now we change the concentration of the hydrogen peroxide, which is actually our substrate. But we could do the exact opposite. We could change the concentration of our yeast, which we could do next.